on, guys? K-Dub here with another episode of Crypto Zombie. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having a great day today. Now, having a look at Bitcoin's price, we have actually fallen below this upwards parallel channel. You can see right here, it's actually started to act as resistance. Now, there is a few reasons why we're seeing this price action. Number one, as I had been saying, after that massive 50% move, we were in fact due for somewhat of a pullback. We also saw some whale manipulation right here, and today we have the crypto FUD hitting the fan. There is just so much news that came out in the past 24 hours, and it's all negative. The mainstream media, the SEC, we have a US crackdown on banks dealing with crypto. We also have Kraken under investigation over illegal security sales. We have Coinbase coming out talking about how they don't want US citizens to maybe stake on centralized exchanges, or they just don't want us staking at all. So there's just a lot of crazy things. Plus, apparently, there is this big crypto announcement that could be coming out today from the SEC. They're having a closed meeting today at 2 p.m. Eastern time. So just so much stuff going on right now. There's lots of uncertainty. Now, hear me out. If this does come out to be another one of those like Bits Lotto things where it's not a big deal, the Department of Justice took down a random exchange, you're probably going to see the price pump. But as I said, trading news events can be very, very risky. But if you do want to stay up to date, make sure that you guys follow me on Twitter. If you're not already, I will let you guys know what this situation is as it unfolds. Obviously, I'm making the video a little bit early today, but before we get all, down and gloomy about everything, underneath all of this FUD, there is a silver lining to this potential black cloud. So make sure that you stick around all the way to the end of this video, because I'm not going to do a full video on just FUD. I do want to let you know what I'm seeing, but there is something really cool happening in the background as well. So if that sounds good to you, welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having a beautiful and wonderful day today. Get subscribed if you're not. Turn on that bell notification so you can get notified in the event that I do, I might do an update video later. I don't know. It depends on how big the news is. So as we can see right here, though, what I had talked about was this little pattern of whale manipulation. And again, I have to stress, because people think I just drew these on here. I didn't draw them on there. These indicate large entities selling in relationship to the volume, right? This is what the indicator does. And you can see right here, we had two red dots. We also had these red on Market Cipher. Both are showing completely oversold. We do have the money flow looking like it's starting to curve to the downside. And we have this manipulation pattern, which is very similar, as I said, to this pattern that we saw back here, right? We saw a very similar pattern where we had this whale selling, right? And we had a bump, and then we did keep going to the upside. We put in an all-time high. I'm just saying it's starting to look a bit familiar. Plus, as I've been mentioning, we do have this death cross on the weekly, and I know that we got the bullish cross, the golden cross on the daily, but do understand that the weekly is more important than the daily, the higher time frame. And you can see right here on the higher time frames, we are still, in a downtrend, right? This is still a downtrend. I mean, yes, we've technically broken the critical level, but it is still a downtrend. We have to minimally reclaim this area right here, get above this trend, and close above this death cross. And if we did, basically at this point, all we have to do is basically close above $25,150. Just nice close above that, on the weekly. And I think we could say safely, unless it's a fake out, we're probably going much higher. But until we accomplish that, right now, we still have to be careful, because we're still technically in no man's land. We also have the CME futures gap that we have to close down here as well. And I already spoke about this death cross, so I'm not going to go into it again and again. But look at this, guys. I told you this. This is exactly what I said. I said, look, we're going to probably fall below the 22,000. And we were just preemptively coming up with a trend here, right? You see this trend, we took this wick, we connected it to here. Now, here's something interesting when you're trading. So some people say, don't use the wicks. Some people say, only use the solid bodies. And then some people say, no, use all the wicks and connect them. So this is what I do. This is my strategy. Whatever the largest wick that starts the trend, I will start the trend there, because that's a psychological level. Every wick after that, I don't take seriously. So I'll start with a wick, but I'll finish with the candle bodies, okay? So you can see right here, for example, on this 4 hour, we had this wick right here. I connected it to the next candle body down here, and look at exactly where we bounced. I mean, guys, we did this literally 2 days ago. We had nothing in here, no price action. This isn't some voodoo mysticism, right? And you can see right here, look at that. Boom. Look at that bounce, guys. Now, if you did take that, obviously it wasn't, a super great play, but that was a 2% move. So again, if you guys are interested in learning how to trade, I'm literally giving out these signals literally for free here. Not that I'm a signal channel, but I always just show you what I'm doing. If you do want to learn how to trade, make sure that you watch the tutorial, click that above, take advantage of the $56,000 in bonuses below. But yeah, I mean, what we're, now that we are in here, here's the issue. So now we're seeing this was support, right? Now it could be acting as resistance. So ultimately what we're doing now, just to kind of make it easier for you to see, is, why can't I find the triangle? Right here, guys. So we're kind of putting in this sort of triangle right here. You can see this little bit. So there is a possibility that we do bounce around in this area, maybe throughout the rest of the weekend. But as I said, we could have volatility because people are probably going to trade this news event that comes out today. So do be careful with that. And also remember that we've never actually come down here yet and retested this resistance, this support after, having broken above it, right? So that would be okay to come down and test it one more time and you would still be on an uptrend. So I wouldn't have any issue with that. The other thing too, is it does appear that we have a bit of a consolidation here on the S&P. You can see we're kind of starting to form a bit of a pennant, asymmetrical right here, kind of bouncing around. We're still in, you could say we're still in a parallel channel, but I'm still keeping my eyes on that. And the DXY is still being held down by the 50. So that's what's going on in the charts. Not much has changed. But here's the situation, and I'm going to start with the bad news, okay? I'm going to start with the bad news, and then we'll end on the good news. I think that's the way we should do it. So here's the potential bad news. So we had Nick Carter. He's over at Coinmetrics. You probably have seen this guy around. And he is alleging, and he's not one of those guys I've followed his stuff. He's not the kind of person to just spread FUD to spread FUD. Not that I've seen. I don't know. I'm sure everybody has a dark side we don't know about. But so far, Nick seems like a good guy in my opinion. So he's alleged that the U.S. government is using the banking sector to execute a widespread crackdown against the crypto industry. For example, crypto firms are finding it increasingly difficult to obtain access to onshore banking systems due to unfriendly government practices and regulations. Specifically, the Biden administration is now executing what appears to be a coordinated plan that spans multiple agencies to discourage banking from dealing with crypto firms. For context, anti-crypto lawmaker Elizabeth Warren reportedly issued a letter to Silvergate on December 6th, reprimanding them for banking with FTX. And 24 hours later, the crypto-friendly Signature Bank informed its customers that it would shut down their crypto accounts and return their money. As a result, Binance also announced, and some people were freaking out about this yesterday, that they would only process fiat transactions worth more than $100,000, clearly discouraging the average retail investor. To make matters worse, you had Metropolitan Commercial Bank announcing a total shutdown of their crypto-related services. The Federal Reserve reportedly denied Crypto Bank Custodia's application to become a member of the Federal Reserve System due to being considered high risk for dealing with crypto. From a policy perspective, the Fed, the FDIC, and the OCC released a joint statement just 6 days ago stating that the risks banks face by engaging in crypto firms, are obviously high and could lead to issues with customers' safety of their funds, and banks were strongly discouraged from doing so, citing safety and soundness risks. Now, just to clarify something, it says, although the authorities did not openly ban banks from dealing with crypto clients, Carter said that the stringent policies and the DOJ's recent investigations against Silvergate do serve as a deterrent to other banks. So there is no official ban on banks dealing with crypto services, but they are being strongly suggested not to. Okay, so take it with a grain of salt. Interesting, though, how all the FUD comes out after Bitcoin has a 50% move. This is why I say these markets are shady, my friends. All of a sudden, no one's talking about Bitcoin. Bitcoin pumps over 50%. And now everybody's interested in jumping on these banks and making these big things and going after these, right? Why? Sounds to me like somebody's angry that they didn't get some cheap Bitcoin. Now, it might sound like a conspiracy theory, but let me tell you, I have seen too many coincidental moments in Bitcoin where all of a sudden price is doing amazing and then all of a sudden some bad news comes out and conveniently the price crashes. And then a couple weeks later, a month later, everybody loves crypto again. Oh, right. When all you guys crashed the price and got to buy for cheap again. Jamie Dimon, anyone? Hello? All of a sudden he hates Bitcoin again? Come on. Brian Armstrong says, we're hearing rumors that the SEC would like to get rid of crypto staking in the US for retail customers. I hope that's not the case, as I believe it would be a terrible path for the US if that was allowed to happen. We need to make sure new technologies are encouraged to grow in the US and not stifled by lack of clear rules. When it comes to financial services and Web3, it is a matter of national security that these capabilities be built out in the US. Regulation by enforcement doesn't work. It encourages companies to operate offshore, which is exactly what happened with FTX. And I 100% agree. If you did not watch the live stream, guys, that I did yesterday with Miss Teen Crypto, this is what we were talking about. And I was discussing the fact that it is not a smart idea for the US to try to ban this because it's not going to go away. Pandora's box has been opened. Bitcoin, crypto, blockchain, Web3, it's here. It's here to stay. And the US is already seeing an issue, side note, not crypto related. Our immigration has gone down, right? Now you can get into the politics of it and, Trump was building the wall and all that. I'm not going to talk about that. I just mean in general, you're just not seeing people want to move to the US. You're seeing people move to other more friendly countries, and not just for crypto purposes. People are going to Dubai, not just because of crypto. I mean, they have 0% taxes over there. 0 on income. That's crazy. Meanwhile, I have to give away half, right? It's insane over here. And the US really needs to get with the program. Look, guys, if you want to tax it, fine. Figure out a way to tax it. To me, it seems crazy that they would want to get rid of staking when that it's taxable income, especially if you're doing it through a centralized exchange. Now, I'm not starting the argument of whether or not we should or shouldn't be using centralized exchanges to stake. No, I believe you should run your own node, but most people are lazy. They're not going to do that, right? So if I was the US, I would just tax it and that's it. But moving on, I know, guys, I promise this is the last bad story of today. The US-based crypto exchange Kraken is in hot water. Now, Kraken was one of the first to come out, keep in mind, when we had this issue with the proof of reserves. And they said, well, no, we're not just talking about reserves. We need to look at the liabilities as well. And I actually really like Jesse Powell a lot. I think he's a real honest dude. And I don't think they're trying to do anything wrong. Of course, they're just doing business. Yes, they're taking percentages on trades. Of course, that's how they run their business, But here lies the issue. The SEC has probed into whether Kraken did offer unregistered securities to U.S. customers. They're saying that this is at an advanced stage of the investigation. But let's be honest. Let's be totally honest here. You guys need to come up with a guideline. They're keeping it gray purposefully. We know that Bitcoin is a commodity/property, right? What is Ethereum? Well, we don't know now that it's switched to proof of stake. What are any of the other coins? Make clear guidelines. But they don't want to make clear guidelines because if they make clear guidelines, then they have to admit what they do and do not have jurisdiction over. So by keeping it gray and keeping everybody confused, right, they can continue to manipulate the markets however they want. And I don't want to say too much about Mr. Gensler, but I think we're going to find out a lot. I think a lot is going to come out, and I don't want to say too much. But anyway, you can see right here, Jesse Powell has not commented. Kraken has not commented. But according to this Bloomberg article, the outcome of the probe and any potential actions taken against Kraken could have significant ramifications for the crypto industry in the U.S. It is believed that any settlement in this case could put pressure on other companies to also make deals with the SEC. That just sounds wrong. That's make deals with the SEC. That just sounds crooked. The report noted that the SEC on several occasions had said that most tokens offered by crypto exchanges are indeed securities and therefore should be subject to the SEC. Okay, so they've said on several occasions. Is it official though? Still, it also is stressed. Anyway, I'm not going to go on with this article, but guys, all right, so speaking about the Howey test, we'll get back to that in a minute. The Howey test is literally like 77 years old, I think, at this point. Like, it's older than some people's grandparents, literally, today. So it definitely needs to be updated. And to make matters worse, we have Eleanor Terrett. She's saying, my SEC source tells me to be prepared for a potentially big announcement tomorrow. Could it have something to do with the Kraken settlement following a closed meeting at 2 p.m.? Could settlement terms have industry ramifications? Some people are thinking maybe it has something to do With the Ripple XRP case, we don't really know. But that's supposed to be coming soon. And this meeting says it's happening today at 2 p.m. Eastern time. So there's a good chance by the time you're watching this video, this announcement's already out. If you do happen to catch this video before then, like I said, I will be over on Twitter. We will be following this. So that's kind of that situation. That's the FUD on top of the technicals. That's why, right? So if this turns out to be sort of a big nothing burger, then, we might see a little bit of a news-related pump. But right now, it's looking a little weak. And the other thing, too, that I don't really love specifically is you see how we're starting to get this, like, curve? Like, see how it's, like, curving? Like, it's not straight, you know what I mean? It's starting to curve. I've seen it kind of do that, like, waterfall cascade thing. I'm not saying it's going to do it. What do I know? It's just probabilities, but it is showing potential short-term signs of weakness. But obviously, if we break through that level, we hold above it, then hey, let's keep on going. Nice fake out, right? What are we talking about? What are we talking about here? So here's the positive. Here's the positive. I don't want to be all negative today. I know. I'm sorry, guys. I love you. I want to talk about some good news. So crypto and securities. Here's the plus side. It looks like there could be a new interpretation of the U.S. Howey test gaining ground. So you have Lewis Cohen, who's been heading a team of researching Howey-related case laws to propose an application that would differentiate between primary and secondary transactions, and this could potentially help crypto. So we did celebrate a victory because we had the SEC admitting in the remedies hearing of the library token case, right? They were saying library is a utility token. They said that secondary sales of its LBC coin were not considered security sales. Interesting. Very, very interesting. So we have the initial sale, right, versus the secondary sale. This could be a leap in the proper direction. Another thing to point out is despite everyone talking doom and gloom about crypto, actually having a lot of people freak out over the FTX situation made it a little better for crypto. In fact, you could see right here, the CME Group CEO Terry says that they've actually seen an uptick in their crypto products.
What about Bitcoin products, futures? What are you seeing in terms of demand, especially on the institutional side, Terry?
You know what, Sarah, it's really been interesting what's going on with Bitcoin. After we saw what happened at the end of last year with some of the issues going on in the industry, the whole industry of crypto kind of suffered. And then we saw an uptick in our open interest starting and our trade starting around November, December, and it's continuing on here. So I think people are looking at the regulated market, and especially the institutions, saying, if we're going to trade this stuff, we're going to trade it on a regulated exchange like CME. So we've actually seen an uptick in our crypto products, Sarah. So we're quite pleased by that.
And if you just want to also talk about not just the trading aspect of it, but the adoption aspect of the technology itself, this report says from CryptoQuant that network activity, very kind of hard to see right here. It's very, very light yellow, but you can see that the activity on Bitcoin's blockchain has actually hit a level not seen since China banned the crypto miners in 2021. Now, why are we seeing this uptick in this on-chain data? Well, they're actually saying that it has a lot to do with the fact that we're seeing so many NFTs being minted on Bitcoin now, which is crazy, right? So you're seeing the Ordinals protocol. They said they've had over 13,000 Ordinals minted since December alone, and this is increasing a lot of activity on the Bitcoin network. So usually you tend to see the Bitcoin network, gaining that usage. You also see the hash rate, and they say hash rate follows price, price follows hash rate. Let's be honest, they both move in tandem. I'm sure we can argue that till we're blue in the face. But at the end of the day, this to me is signaling positive for Bitcoin. So we'll have to see what goes on today with that news. As you could tell, guys, nothing that happens at the end of the day is going to deter me from Bitcoin. I'm not scared. They're not going to ban Bitcoin. They've been talking about banning Bitcoin for 7 years. They're not going to ban Bitcoin. Could get a little bit difficult in the US. My opinion when it comes to altcoins, which by the way was another thing that we talked about on this live stream that we did, was that everyone's like, what if they do deem all these altcoins as securities, right? Well, they're not coming after the investor. It's a waste of their time, right? The SEC and all these guys, they're here to protect the consumer, right? They're going to go after the people selling them. They're not going to come after you because you bought a shit coin and it's a secure, like they're not going to do that. They don't care. Okay. So don't worry, guys. Most of this regulation is not for the individuals. It's for the corporations. It's for the exchanges. It's for the banks, right? It's for those guys. But nevertheless, we are affected by it. So if you do want to check it out, I did have an hour. It's basically a podcast that we did over on her channel. Go to the Twitter, follow me on Twitter. I do have the link in the Twitter if you want to go check that out. But that's basically it for me, guys, today. So thank you so much for coming back to the channel. We will keep updated. I'm not going to lie, Bitcoin is looking a little bit weak right now, but who knows? Maybe we have this announcement from the SEC and maybe it's a big Bits Lotto 2.0, nobody cares, and we get excited and it pumps again, right? It's a possibility. But nevertheless, guys, we still are in the short-term uptrend, major downtrend. Like I said, getting above some of those key levels, get subscribed. We're going to go over it every single day. And if you do want to check out the tutorial, or if you even want to check out that other video, you can check it out by clicking right here, right now. Until next time, stay crypto. And of course, peace out.